What'd you think of this one?
I mean, obviously we won, but I'm sure it doesn't feel like it. Just not good football. It starts with me. You know, this is a mental game, and this has been a very mentally challenging and draining week. But you know, at the end of the day, we need to step on the football field and play good football when it's time.
Big Ben not happy about the Steelers' performance. They stay undefeated in that #1 seed spot. The Chiefs sitting right there on their tail at 10-1. The Titans are the 3 seed as it stands now after Week 12. All right, the Ravens kept it close. What did we make of Pittsburgh's win yesterday? It's a weird game. Oh, weird.
Yeah. Did they look good? No. Was it a good win? Yes. Ugly football this time of year. The weather was ugly. The conditions were something that paralleled what they went through in pushing this game back. It seems like everything was up in the air. This was just a week where they needed to get the win to move on to next week. As much as I could sit here and criticize, and as I'm watching the game saying, are the Ravens about to win this game?
Yeah.
Which they had plenty of opportunities to.
Oh, yes.
I still walk away saying the Pittsburgh Steelers are undefeated. They didn't play the perfect game. You listen to Big Ben. Ugly football. We didn't play perfect, but we walk away with the dub. I'm going to repeat it every week until they lose. Never apologize for a victory. I will end it by saying this. As I'm watching this Pittsburgh Steelers team kind of claw their way through this game, walk away, beat up and bruised, cold, feeling ugly as they win the ugly game, this team isn't beating the Kansas City Chiefs. Plain and simple. So as much as I can compliment them, I know that the Kansas City Chiefs in these conditions will still look like the Kansas City Chiefs. The Pittsburgh Steelers look like a team that was struggling against a team that was struggling to put a roster on the field.
But who were they playing? They were playing the Ravens, right? And I think that's where Steelers fans are coming out this morning. Like, any win over the Ravens we'll take. We're not going to apologize for a win for the Ravens.
For sure.
And yet, Nate, forget the Chiefs. I don't know if they're beating the Bills. I don't know if they're beating the Titans. I have a lot of doubts about Pittsburgh after yesterday.
Oh, the Browns.
The Browns are coming with 2 running backs. If you didn't watch this game, it was maybe the worst game of football we've seen all season. Sloppy, gross, turnovers. And the Steelers, they had most of their weapons, and it was ugly. Talking drop after drop after drop. And ones like this, like Deontay Johnson, the ball goes right through the numbers and off of him. In the hands, drop. Juju couldn't catch anything. Ebron had about 4 drops, I felt like, in big spots. That were a terrible play right there. And like, these are their starters. Like, this isn't Trace McSorley throwing the ball to Culkin, the backup tight end on the Ravens, who was a connection yesterday that we saw. So I have genuine concerns with the play. And guess what, Steelers fans? As you're throwing your remote at the TV, I'm not alone. Here was Mike Tomlin talking about how he felt his team performed against the Ravens' 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th string yesterday.
Mike, you had some red zone failures and a number of drop passes. What do you attribute that to? Anything in particular?
Us sucking.
Yeah.
That's not Barack Tomlin.
That's not Barack Tomlin.
It's okay to suck.
Yes, we suck.
You got the win. You're 11-0. But, like, even the Steelers fans can't wake up this morning saying, oh, I feel fresh as a daisy. Bring on the Chiefs. That's just how I feel.
But can you just say, like, it was the craziest situation?
Yeah, it was.
3 times. So you don't, like, circumstances don't affect this at all? Like,
no, you're right.
Minds have changed on the Steelers?
You're totally right. It was such a weird deal, not just for the Ravens, for the Steelers, too, that, you know, just chalk it up and move on to the next one. That's fine. It's just been this tendency that, like, we kept the Cowboys hanging around. We with Garrett Gilbert. Like, it doesn't seem like they ever just put a team away. And those really good teams, they'll bite you at the end.
And now it keeps going. Roethlisberger after said, we're going to start watching Washington tape tonight because they got to go.
Yeah.
I like that.
We missed some of this in the highlight. The game got really strange. Before we run it, RG3 got hurt in this game. He pulled up with a hamstring, he had to come out. Trace McSorley, a second-year player who had never thrown a touch, never thrown anything, came in the game, and it got crazy. Watch what happened. As Tirico is saying, oh, it's kind of over, Trace McSorley is going to find Hollywood. There's only a few minutes left in the game, and Hollywood's going to go, now watch, Minka's got an angle on him. He said, oh, bye-bye.
This was scary.
So now it's alive. It is absolutely alive, and the Steelers are going to get the ball after this. Roethlisberger faced an unbelievable situation in which he had to throw it over the middle to move the chains. I think it was a 3rd down. Here it is, right here. And look at this.
Lobbed it.
How was that not picked off? That pass was in the air for an hour. It goes to James Washington, who, credit to him, makes a great play.
Yeah. With his hands in the cold.
Floater.
With his hands in the cold, Kyle.
Poor Ravens.
Check out that.
I can't imagine he threw that ball. And if that's intercepted, I actually think the Ravens are going to go on and win the game.
Why aren't they running the ball?
And they tried, they ran it. This game got crazy at the end. So if you think the Steelers were ugly, if you think it wasn't great, they damn near blew this game. Now, credit to Washington, he made the play.
Yeah.
But listen, I tend to come out more of the ridiculous, unprecedented circumstance that they're in.
Yeah.
They got to win against the Baltimore Ravens and John Harbaugh, and now they have to do it again in 20 minutes against Washington. Ugly as hell. Doesn't look intimidating. Chiefs aren't scared of that. 11-0. The last thing was Eric Ebron had a couple of drops. His tweet after the game, it was ugly, but our record a bad B, 11-0. Yeah. It's true. 11-0.
They didn't run it because they didn't trust the run games. At the end, they didn't even try to run off the clock. They threw 3 times instead of trying to run it. They could not get it going against a depleted, really banged up Ravens defensive front. They need James Conner out there. Ben could not get it done. Ben Snell, I'm talking about. They're not going to do anything in the AFC if Ben Roethlisberger is throwing the ball 51 times, which he did yesterday.
Yeah, especially in conditions like that.
51 is crazy.
Yeah, let me add this in before we get to Tom Pelissero. I'm watching the game, and RG3 goes down, and my 2 boys in the back just wrestling as usual. And Trace McSorley comes in, and they're like, yeah, Trace is a legend. I was like, what?
Why?
I don't know. He has like a song out there. He has like somebody talking about how great. He's like a young legend.
He holds all the Penn State records for quarterback play, throwing the ball, not just running the ball. But I don't know about his
high school demographic. They went
But
crazy.
I don't know about his millennial Q score.
It's through the roof. My son was playing some song where a dude's rapping about how good Trace McSorley is. So
really?
Trace McSorley is here. He has arrived. My son's got me hip to him. It was like I learned a new song yesterday.
Trace McSorley sounds like a place that the 4 of us go have a beer after the show.
Very New York bar.
Like,
yeah, it's right by R.W.
Let's go to, let's
JT
go to
O'Sullivan.
Get a couple pints, gentlemen. Interesting. I need a deeper dive on that.
Some photo.
Trace McSorley.
Let's bring in Tom Pelissero. Now, Tom, there's plenty of worry for the Steelers and their fan base. Here at the breakfast table, we're all talking about it, of course, even though they're undefeated. It sort of doesn't sit well with us here this morning, but they do have another problem, a huge loss defensively. What happened to Bud Dupree?
Okay, the early news is not good on Steelers linebacker Bud Dupree after he went down in the 4th quarter last night with a non-contact right knee injury. As first reported by our Mike Garafolo and Aditi Kinkhabwala, the initial tests say that Bud Dupree suffered a torn ACL. Now, he'll undergo further testing today to confirm that diagnosis, but that would obviously knock Dupree out for the rest of this season. A huge loss for a Steelers team that's had one of the most productive pass rush duos in the league this season between Bud Dupree and T.J. Watt. Also unfortunate timing for Dupree, who's playing on the franchise tag, set to become one of the most coveted free agents in March. He should, if this is confirmed, be healthy for 2021.
Appreciate the updates and bad news for that undefeated Steelers team trying to make waves in the AFC. Thank you so much, Tom Pelissero. I know Steelers fans